Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 468 of Ink in Your Veins. I'm Rachael Herron, and I'm so thrilled that you are here today with me with May Cobb. I know that it sounds like a default for me to say that my guests are delightful, um, but you know that they are. And May is extremely delightful. And we're talking about something super cool, which is how to use freelance developmental editor while you're still writing your novel, which is, I think, a tricky thing to think about and talk about, and also super cool and exciting. So please stick around for this conversation with May. That's going to happen in just a moment. A very quick intro because I am quite busy today and just trying to fit a lot of things into the day truthfully so that I can make it to my massage on time. I am thinking a great deal lately about that idea of, putting on your own mask before you secure the masks of those around you in the airplane when you need the oxygen masks, which I pray none of us ever do need those. But oh gosh, I was listening to, I think it was the Glennon Doyle podcast, We Can Do Hard Things, and they always say great things over there. And I was reminded again that there are no martyr Olympics, although I've been trying to compete in one my whole life. Who's tired from working, who's busy, who's really got a lot on their plate. And oh, I just fall into that so easily. And the reason I'm bringing this up is yesterday, I had to get up early because the dog's minder comes early on Wednesdays and it's also my teaching day, but our clocks have adjusted. So now instead of teaching at 9 for 4 hours, I start at 10. And usually I fill those hours with work. But yesterday when I got up, I was like, screw it. It is 6 in the morning, which isn't that early for me, but that's a fine hour. But usually I launch into doing things and morning routine and meditation and doing a meeting and doing my exercise and journaling and eating a healthy breakfast and maybe starting another loaf of sourdough bread before I start working. And yesterday I got in the tub. I got in the tub at like 6:30 in the morning and I spent 2 hours in there. And then I got out of the tub and I had a big, lovely peanut butter and honey toast, sourdough and tea breakfast. And then I got onto my couch and I read some more. And I basically did that until about 9:30. So 3.5 hours is how I started my day. And you know what? I got so much done yesterday. And I'm not saying that to brag about the productivity Olympics. I'm saying that I am the one who has to take care of myself. I'm the one who has to make myself happy. And feeling put out because I have so much to do is super annoying. Number one, for everyone around me, I'm sure. And number two, especially for myself. We had to do something else adult, not in the fun way. After teaching, I had to do this financial consultation because we're trying to do the things adults are supposed to do, like insurance and wills and financial planning for retirement, which who knows what the hell that is. But I was feeling like, oh, must grind after that too. After we have that meeting, must get through the email. And then I was like, screw it. I'm gonna go read some more. And I read most of the very long book by Paul Murray called The Bee Sting, which was bananas. I thought it was super good. But very literary point of view. He just was like, points of view? What's that? What's that? I'm gonna do everything. Actually, he really understands points of view, but he really plays with it. So do enjoy that if you like language and thrilling plot, and we can discuss the ending at another time. But I read so much and I had such a good day. And then I got in the car and I went and bought Indian food for dinner because nobody felt like cooking and I felt like being in the car. I am just driving around listening to podcasts, which makes me really happy. So I am, again, as I try to do a lot, I'm trying to let go of some of my expectations. I'm never going to be a good human being because I got everything down on my to-do list. period. We go back to the Oliver Berkman book, 4,000 Weeks. If you haven't read that, please read that. Please go back and listen to my episode with my friend Jason. Google Jason, Rachael Herron, 4,000 Weeks, and it'll come right up. I've been doing something, I'll just mention really quickly. I've been doing something very, very nice with my to-do list, which I've been keeping it digitally in Google Keep for a while now, maybe about a year. And now, when the time for my workday is done, I have the date, and underneath that date in my Google Keep to-do list, I have all the things I want to do that day. And I'm never going to get through all those things. There are always too many. And it always was a source of frustration before, but I'm kind of treating it now like I do my goals in writing. You all have heard me talk about this a lot. I set goals for my writing. I absolutely 100% fail to hit them most weeks. And I am now, because of a lot of practice and a lot of acceptance and a lot of kindness, I don't care. I it's that's part of my process is every Monday morning I go, "Oh, what's going to be my goal this week? I don't care how much I missed it last week. I reset it this week. I move toward it. I miss it again, but I'm always moving forward." So I'm taking, and that's how I get books done. So I'm taking that same idea to my to-do list, and it's been great. So yesterday was the 9th of October, and in my Google Keep, when I was ready to leave the desk after that financial meeting, which actually went really well and really low stress. I looked at October 9th and I went into the 9 and I changed it to a 10. That's what I did. Suddenly, the to-do list for October 9th was done. It didn't exist anymore. There was nothing to do. My to-do list said, "Oh, these things are going to happen on October 10th." And then I shut the computer down and walked away. And it does feel exactly the same way that continuing to move forward with new goals after I haven't hit the old goals. It feels cheerful, friendly, kind, productive, but not like I have to earn my productivity. Oh, on that same We Can Do Hard Things episode. Can't remember which one it was, or I would tell you. I'm sorry about that. But it might have been the latest one where they were talking to Chelsea Handler. But they were talking about this phrase that we use, earn a living. Just think about that for 1 second. Earn a living. How do you earn a living? How do you earn a living? How do you earn your right to live? And that is some crap that I would like to push back on, and probably will spend the rest of my life trying to push back on this productivity mindset that we are born into, that we inherit by living in capitalistic societies from people whose worth did come from doing and morality and trying to do the right thing, etc. We could talk about that, the way we're programmed for a long time. But it is about deprogramming and questioning and pushing back. And it's hard. I don't have to earn a living. I don't have to earn a life. I do have to make some money to keep going. But it has nothing to do with my worth as a human being. And it's just been very pleasurable to think about that this week, in also my seeking pleasure and saying, screw it, I'm going to get in the tub for a couple of hours in the morning before work. Ooh, that was good. So, anyway, I didn't expect to go there with you today, but it kind of fits in with the delight that I know you're going to feel in listening to this episode with May. And here is her bio. May Cobb is an award-winning author of The Hunting Wives, My Summer Darlings, A Likeable Woman, and Big Woods. Her books have received attention from Book of the Month, The Today Show, and Oprah Daily, and have been optioned for film and TV. She has a master's from San Francisco State University, and her essays and interviews have appeared in the Washington Post and Good Housekeeping. She currently lives in Austin with her family. Her novel, The Hunting Wives, is soon to be a series on STARZ, and The Hollywood Assistant is her most recent novel. Please enjoy this lovely interview. Please get some of your own writing done. Come tell me about it. I love to hear it. And here we go. Well, I am so pleased to welcome you to the show. Will you please share your name and your pronouns with us?
Yes, May Cobb and she, her, and hers.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was just cavelling a little bit over your lovely accent, which reminds me of my late great mother-in-law, who I loved very, very much. That how long have you been in and around Texas? I know you lived
Yeah.
in California for a while and
Yeah. So I was born and raised in East Texas in
mm,
a small town, and I've been in Austin for about the past 30 years, on
I
and
love
off.
Austin.
Yeah.
That was a place when
Yeah.
we were looking to move out of the Bay Area and we were looking all over the world. And Austin kept coming up. It's such a my nephew lives there. It's such a cool town.
It is. It's really cool, except in the summertime. So you made the right decision.
I can imagine. I'm wearing two woolen
Oh
sweaters
my
right
God, I'm
now and the
so
heater's on.
jealous. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, but then it goes both ways. When it's too hot here, you guys are nice and cool and you have snow. So, all right. Well,
Yeah.
I want to jump in and talk about your writing and your writing career. You write a lot. You have written prolifically. Can you tell us a little bit about your writing process? What does it look like on a day-to-day basis, like right now in the phase that you're in, whatever that is?
Yeah. I'm having a little break right now, but normally I tend to write every day, like during the week. So 5 days a week. Start in the morning before my brain turns to mush, and I usually have a goal, whether it's 1,000 words or 2,000 words. 1,000's my comfort zone. That's sort of like 4 page, but under
Yeah.
deadline, it can easily be 2,000. And that's pretty much it. So I'll do a little meditation, and then I'll write, and then I will sometimes, like go on walks, and but I really try to not stop until I've hit that mark.
Mm.
Yeah.
Generally, and this is one of those annoying questions that is so different for everyone, but how long does it usually take you to hit your target goal on a normal day, like not when you're stressing out about getting 4,000 because you're so far behind?
Yeah, if I'm not on Instagram being bad and wasting all my time, usually about 2 hours, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Don't you think that
So
that is like the sweet spot for
it
creation? That
is.
is after
I
all
think
of
it
my years of
is.
doing this, I like two
Yeah.
hours, my brain is mush. And then I could do a lot of other things, but two to maybe
Yeah.
3 hours and I'm just toast.
Yeah, it's like the golden amount of time. So if I don't mess with that time and take calls and do other self-destructive things like the internet, then
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm so happy when I have that behind me and I can go do other stuff.
Yes, and
So
then we get to do whatever we want. I just had this come to Jesus
yeah.
moment earlier today where I was like, "Oh, Rachel, look at your damn calendar." And I have done this to myself that my perfect hours are in the morning and I was looking ahead and I was seeing all of these things that I had scheduled over that time and I was moving
Yeah,
it because if I don't keep that sacred, I won't
you
do it.
have
Okay, so
to.
also on this
Yeah.
show we talk quite a bit about meditation sometimes. Can you tell us about what that looks like
Yeah.
for you and how it helps you writing, if it helps you writing?
Yeah, it absolutely helps. I keep it very simple. I've worked with a meditation teacher, actually out in California for years, and it's just very simple. And it might be 5 minutes, it might be 10,
Mhm.
and I just use it to sort of center myself. Close my eyes, breathe, the whole
Mhm.
thing. And it really helps kind of tune a lot of other noise out, as I'm sure you're aware.
Mhm. Yeah, my favorite thing is that I just get used to failure in meditation in exactly the same way I get used to failure on the page. I'm
Yeah.
always planning my shopping list,
Oh yeah, oh
in
yeah, oh
meditation
yeah.
and while I'm writing, and it just doesn't, it becomes less of a big deal. Like, okay, I'll go back to writing.
It it's very
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Cool, cool, cool. All right. So, what is the most exciting thing that you've ever realized about your writing process?
I think that the most exciting thing that's come to me is that I can write a book in like 6 to 7 months. And so that's helpful when I'm trying to stay on a book a year track, to have learned that about myself. Yeah.
Is that first drafting or does that include some revision in there?
That's some revision. I work
Yeah.
with a freelance developmental editor in addition to the editor at the publishing house. And so um yeah, it's us kind of working together so that when we're through that, we really do have a first draft that's ready to go, a first highly polished draft.
Yeah.
Now then it has to go through the editorial process with the publisher, but we feel, like we've gotten it in the best shape it can. It's not a first draft, is what I'm saying, even though I
That
just said
is
first draft. Yeah.
absolutely bloody genius, is what that is. Because I have turned in so many books where I'm like, nope, it's not a book yet. I'm sorry. It's not
Yeah.
a book. So let me, because with my students, we're always talking about, when and where and how to deploy developmental editors. Um,
Yeah.
how did you get, how did you find your relationship with the developmental editor that you use now?
So when I was shopping around my book, The Hunting Wives,
Mhm.
I was shopping it to agents on a partial. I had just parted ways with my agent and I needed a new agent. And I actually, it's a kind of a unusual circumstance, but I needed to sell the book on a partial for financial reasons and stuff. And long story short, I had, multiple offers, which was great, but the agent Victoria Sanders that I signed with, she was very clear about, oh yeah, we will sell this on a partial, but I definitely want you to work with this developmental editor. I highly recommend. And so that's when I began working with Benet is her name. And we really hit it off. So we've just done, let's see, we just finished our fifth book together.
Mm.
And she's old school like me. So if she sends me a note and I'm like, I don't understand where she's coming from, we get on the phone and we hash it out. Because I'm
Yeah.
not someone that wants a 10-page edit letter
Yeah.
and to sit quietly and figure that out.
Mhm.
A lot of my writer friends thrive with that, and that would make me never want to get out of bed. So I like to work through it
Can
in
we
the
can we
in the
have both?
moment. I know, right? I know. Yeah, seriously. But that's my worst nightmare. So we work so well together. I
I'm
think
sorry.
because
I'm
yeah,
gonna dive even deeper in this because this is so
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah, yeah.
Where do you bring her in? Do you bring her in when you're first plotting? Do you outline with her? Does she get sets of chapters, or do you give her a really sloppy whole first draft? Tell us about it, please. This is fascinating.
Yeah, it changes sort of with each book. I'm a
Mhm.
little stubborn, a little more stubborn than she wants me to be in terms of when I start writing, I'll sort of pitch her the idea, and I usually will make myself write like a 3-paragraph pitch to make sure that I've got something that's exciting to me that sounds like a book.
Mhm.
And she might have a suggestion of, like, for my book, My Summer Darlings, I wanted that set in the 70s and it was going to be socialites. And she's like, no, present day. One of the characters has to be down on her luck. No one's going to relate to 3 socialites. So, but other than that, I usually say, hey, let me go find the voice. Let me get
Uh,
this off the ground. So I usually try to do like the first at least 25, 30, 50 pages
mhm.
by myself, but usually about the 25 mark, I cry uncle and I'm like, please look at this. And
Is there
so,
something here? Yeah.
yeah. And so far, she's always given me the thumbs up. And then I'll send her batches like 3 chapters at a time and she'll read them. And it can be things from line editing to polishing to, okay, this scene does not have enough tension. There's no way this character wouldn't be making more of a fuss, you know,
Mhm.
those types of thing. And sometimes she will find something and she'll tug at it. And I'm like, wow, that's such going to be a bigger element of the book than I would have realized. And so it's super helpful for me to get that in real time and not have to. I hate editing. And I know I'm jumping ahead to one of your questions, but I really still struggle with it. And I'm trying to grow as a person and a writer.
This sounds so cool. And I will say for listeners to whom this idea is new, this is not an inexpensive investment. Developmental editing, if you hire it out of your own pocket, it tends to be the highest thing that you will
Yeah,
ever pay for, basically.
no,
But
that's correct.
so incredibly helpful. So where do you fall along the traditional yieldy Pancer plotter
Hmm.
spectrum?
Hmm. I would say I started out definitely as a pantser, but I am too much of a control freak. Like, I do like to have that 1-page pitch. I like to have a 3-act structure and at
Mhm.
least some of the plot points. Now, like The Hollywood Assistant, the book I just published, just came out. For instance, I didn't know the villain until like a scarily long into the book. So I still really like writing is an act of discovery, especially for my genre suspense. Like I really
Mhm.
like to have surprise, and
Mhm.
I don't sort of have that sort of like chess player mind. I kind of
I don't
wish I
either.
did. Yeah, right. It's
I've
just
written two thrillers and they were
yeah,
hell.
yeah,
They were just, it
yeah.
was so hard for me because I couldn't come up with those twists very well. Yeah.
It's very challenging, and I certainly usually cannot come up with them ahead of time.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So
so yeah, I think I'm sort of in the middle now, but still,
love
I'm
that.
more of a pantser at
Y-
heart.
And you're allowing kind of for, there's space for all of that with this, this assisted, um, I want one. I'm just like, why haven't I ever done this with
Yeah,
a developmental one, or
yeah.
why haven't I?
I know
It's so smart.
it's been so helpful. I
Yeah.
don't think I could have produced a book a year for the past whatever years without her.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful. Okay, so now tell us about
yeah.
what part of writing you struggle most with, and I'm guessing it might be revision.
Yes, yes. Again, like when we've gone through and we've written this draft and it's done, I've written it, she's edited it, and then we send it off. And then when I get the edit letter back, I have gotten better and a little more mature about it, but it does take me a while to
Yeah.
go, oh wow, I'm gonna have to bust out some of these walls. And
Yeah.
it's a little painful. So I think that'll probably always be my least favorite. Even though one of my great friends is like, no, just look at it as another form of creativity. And I'm like, that's helpful. But like in theory, I agree, but like it just doesn't feel that creative to me. But I am trying to learn. Like this latest book, I had to cut 10,000 words, and that felt so brutal, but it actually was a really good learning experience. Like, I don't need to describe another cup of coffee, maybe.
I love those challenges to cut. I'm an
Yeah,
overwriter. So when I have to cut, I'm always like, nothing can go. It's all perfect. And then when I get rid of the things, it just sings. It's so much better and so much tighter. Why couldn't I
it's
see that
true.
the
I
first time?
know. No, it's
Yeah.
true. It's so true.
Yeah. I just had this image while you were speaking too that, we love analogies, don't we, in writing? But I think it's like as if with every book, this is how I feel. I build a house by myself using YouTube, and I have never built anything before. And then the editor comes in, who's the real contractor, and says, "No, that is load bearing, and there's no bearing, and you need to blow that out and push that there. The bathroom can't go there. It's illegal. Move it over there." And I think that's like that would overwhelm me in the same way
Yeah,
as
yeah. Oh, I
revision
love that
letters.
analogy,
I'm
though.
gonna.
Yeah,
That's what it feels like. All right,
yeah.
so going the opposite way, can you tell us what you're really good at writing wise?
Again, I would say that I have learned to write efficiently and quickly due to deadlines. And I do try to write. I've been accused of underwriting, but I like to use a more favorable term, which is clean.
Oh, I love that. Yes, I'm gonna start saying that for my underwriters in the house. They're more clean because I'm definitely not. It's a mess. It's a dirty mess. Yeah. That's great. So that is efficient and that is quicker. How how do people do that if they struggle with that? Do you have any tips?
I tend to sort of, when I'm writing, I'll have a stack of books on my bedside table where I find the prose to be very clean. And so
Mm.
before I write, after the meditation, I will usually pick up and read a paragraph and go, damn, they really nailed that in such a beautiful way. But it's not, and I love me some overwrought writing. I love it when it's ornate. It's just, I don't know if I've always been afraid to take up too much space, but I do underwrite. So I try to I love gorgeous prose when it's succinct, and I can't ever pronounce that word because I'm from East Texas and we didn't learn how to talk fancy there. But but yeah, so I don't know if I answered that, but that's yeah.
No, that's a
And
great
writing, yeah.
idea.
Okay,
It's like
okay.
you listen, you know how you get you listen to music and you get the song stuck in your head. I often find that I have to be careful what I'm really reading when I'm writing, because if I am reading something flowery and overwrought, the next day that song is still in my head, and I will be even more flowery
Yeah,
than
yeah,
normal. But if you
yeah.
do
No,
focus on
same
something
here.
that's beautiful and clean, you're putting that song in your head.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Exactly.
Perfect. That is a great tip. May I ask you, what is the kindest thing you've ever done for yourself as a writer?
I think I've done a lot because I'm really into the self-care because of the crazy treacherous path that writing is. The thing that I remember is when I got my first agent. This was years and years ago for a nonfiction project. And I didn't really have any business doing this, but he didn't sell anything for me, but just signing with him after looking for an agent for what felt like a decade. I loaded up my baby and my husband, and we went to like the hill country outside of Austin and got we stayed at like a bed and breakfast to celebrate. I don't know why I
That's
remember that. I think
gorgeous.
because we were penniless and we shouldn't have done it like logically, but I was like, this is momentous.
That
And
is beautiful.
of course, that agent did not sell that project.
Is that the one
And
that you parted ways with in order to go with the new one, or was that your a third that came in?
that was, yeah, so that was the first one. And then the second one's the one that I parted ways with. So I'm
Mhm.
now with my third and forever agent, Victoria. But sometimes it takes a minute. It's such an important relationship. And
Yeah,
yeah.
it has to be right. I've been with mine for, oh my God, for 16 years? Jesus.
Oh my God,
Um,
that's amazing.
but it is amazing. And we've grown up together. She's my forever agent. But if she weren't, I would have we really believe in doing what is right for us as
Yeah,
writers.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I had different projects. Like I said, that was a nonfiction thing. And then when I started writing thrillers,
Mm.
and it became, so it's not just like I'm some ruthless person. It's just been the path of,
It's not
where,
about, yeah, it's not
yeah,
ruthless.
yeah,
It's being businesslike. Like
yeah.
my agent and I have always been friends, but we've always been friends with the absolute understanding that business has nothing to do with the friendship. And when she tells me something and I hate it, it's not about the friendship, and vice versa. That is the business side of
I,
it. And yeah,
I love that.
I hope she never leaves me. Can you please
Yeah,
tell us
same.
can you please tell us about a specific moment that you knew you had ink in your veins?
I think this goes back to the nonfiction project. I have been working on a book about the late jazz great Rahsaan Roland Kirk.
Hmm.
And when I first heard his music and then found out about his story, I knew I had to write it.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
That is amazing. And where is this
Thank you.
project? Where is it where does it live now? What
It's
state is it in?
now buried in my literal closets in closets because it's so much research in boxes, and I need
I
to dig it out and finish it.
I am a jazz aficionado and I don't know this
Ah,
person.
oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, he was blind. He played three saxophones at the same time.
What
He
is
was
his
just
name
this
again?
staggering. His last name is Kirk, and his first name is Rahsaan, Rahsaan.
Uh-huh.
And he had a stroke and he died when he was quite young. He was 42.
Mm.
Otherwise, everyone would know who he is. Like his peers were Coltrane and Mingus, and they
Mhm.
worshipped him. Mingus used to call his name was Rahsaan Roland. He would call him Rolls Royce. Yeah,
Wow.
they really were. They were, yeah, in as much awe of him as I as I am.
Your face just
And
lights up when you think about him too.
I know. I've got to find that like 6 months
Yeah, yeah,
break so I
yeah.
can get this out there because his widow is we're really close friends, and you know uh, she's been so patient,
Mm.
and I'm ready to get it done. So
I'm going to be talking to my partner about this. She's been learning jazz
oh
piano,
oh my
and
God, I
I'm
love that.
she probably already knows about him, but I'm pretty well versed jazz wise, and that one is not coming to me. So thank you for that.
you, you will love
And
it. His music is
ooh,
incredible.
ooh, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Thank you. Will you please tell us about the best book that you've read recently?
It is The House of Bone and Rain
Hmm.
by Gabino Iglesias. It comes out Tuesday, August the 6th.
Hmm.
It is being held as a Latinx Stand By Me. Gabino lives in Austin. We did my launch for Hollywood Assistant together and sort of a pre-launch for House of Bone and Rain. And he's originally from Puerto Rico. It's set in Puerto Rico, and it's got this great mix of sort of like horror, folklore, magical realism,
Mm.
elements to supernatural. And it's he's just one of those very powerful gut punch storytellers.
That
I
sounds like
expect
it
it to
is.
be everywhere. Yeah.
That is right up my alley, and that is why I asked this question because I'm just adding to my TBR pile. So
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
for that. And now
Yeah.
let's turn the focus back on you. Can you please tell us a little bit about The Hollywood Assistant, which is out now everywhere?
Yes, the Hollywood Assistant, which I have. I
Such
love
a
the
cute cover.
cover.
Yeah.
Thank you. It is about a fledgling novelist who well-connected friend gets her a job as a personal assistant to this kind of powerful Hollywood couple. And what seems at first like a dream job, sort of spirals into a nightmare. And when one of the married people, the couple, one of them is dead, she becomes like the prime suspect. And it's sort of about her getting entangled into a toxic marriage, and she doesn't know what's going on. And it's sort of my love letter to like erotic thrillers of the 80s and 90s, like Fatal Attraction and Body
Yes.
Double.
Yes. I think we might be about the same age.
I love it. So you had access to HBO and Cinemax
At my
at a
friends'
tender
houses,
age.
yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have it at my house, but I went over and we watched through, yeah, like that. Oh, that's fantastic. Congratulations on its release. And I also want to just brag on you. It's already been said in the introduction to you, but your novel, The Hunting Wives, is soon to be a series on STARZ. Just because
Yeah.
we are curious voyeurs. What is that like? What has that been like going through that process?
It's been absolutely surreal. It's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I got to
Yay.
visit set a bunch of times. They stuck me in a
Really?
cameo. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
you got the cameo. You got the author cameo.
got the author cameo. It was so much fun. I just and everyone was so warm and welcoming. It
Oh,
it's been like it's really been has been like a dream.
I think I would have felt like the biggest imposter of my life being in a
No, you
place
wouldn't
like
have.
that, you
No,
know?
you wouldn't have. They were so author positive, like, oh my God, thank you
Mm,
so much for the story. And it was amazing. And I mean, I lived in LA 20 years ago. I worked as a Hollywood assistant. So I've been on movie sets and stuff before. So maybe if I hadn't had that,
yeah, yeah,
experience, I would have been a little more like starry-eyed.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm just a little more older and jaded, so but it was still so exciting because it's like, "Oh my god, these characters from my brain are now walking around the set," and
That is incredible. When is it slated to come out? And I know that that can all slip and change.
yeah, I don't know yet. I'm hoping to find out soon, so stay tuned, everyone. I am waiting with bated breath to find out.
That is the literal coolest. All right. Where can we find you out there on the online
Yeah,
Instagram, I hear.
I Instagram, I am big on Instagram, and by big, I mean that's where I waste all my time. It's May_Cobb, and then my website's just like www.maycobb.com.
It has been such a treat to talk to you about this stuff. I'm so glad that I've met you and that now you're in my stable of writers. And you're very, very cool. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rachel. This was an absolute blast.